Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
Welcome on in to this pre-recorded edition of the Voice of Land. Wow, I almost said a show from the station that I work at. That is the first time that I've ever done that. And good thing is that I could have stopped and done it, and then we could have started all over again. But no, we're going to act like we're live because you're seeing this live or hearing this live on Wednesday night, or you're hearing it again as a podcast form. Of course, this is the Voice of Land. We are part of the Big Play Network, partner with LPV Productions, and we thank the Be On Air Network, the Be On Air Network Podcast Network, for sending our audio out to the entire nation and sometimes even worldwide. We've had an Australian guest on before. So
yeah, we have.
You know, we can consider ourselves worldwide because if you go all to the country that
we went to England and Australia.
Yes, we have. So we are worldwide. The guy talking to my left, that is Always Positive Jay. I am Kevin Arnold. And, of course, Ryan, I don't know why I'm forgetting your last name right
Ryan
now.
Mosser.
I just want to say like Moss, and I know that that's not right. That's just going to add the ER. That's all. So Ryan Mosser, of course, our new member of the show. It is a 3-person show now. Peter has finagled his way of staying further away from a camera than closer, as Jay and I have always tried to do. I think he has a microphone, but, you know, with 3 people already talking, I'm sure he's fine just where he does the show, he produces the show, but he is the heartbeat, he is the soul of this show. We can't do anything without him. We give him our sincere thanks. I don't say it enough to him. He can hear me off to my right. A sincere thank you to Peter. Like we said, it's a 3-person show, and we also don't have commercial breaks anymore. So we just jump right into what we're going to talk about. Yes, we got to talk Browns because there is 2 different storylines we need to get into, and that'll kind of take the majority of the conversation. Guardians are continuing their season. They're still 22 games over 500, but have lost 3 in a row. That ties their season long. Everybody's already said it today, so I'm not considering myself the jinx if they don't win tonight. Everybody's already said they're the only team in Major League Baseball that hasn't lost 4 games in a row. Look, everybody else has said it. It ain't on me. It ain't on me. And then Olympics and experience at SummerSlam for myself. I think there's some stadium tie into that with that conversation still going on as well. But let's start with the biggest news of the day, and that is Brandon Aiyuk, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, rumored to be traded. You know, he hasn't been able to agree to a contract in San Francisco. He's been allowed to go search for a contract that suits his liking, as long as the 49ers and said team that he gets a contract from can agree to terms on a trade. There's reports that, you know, San Francisco and the Browns, San Francisco and the Patriots, they have trades in place, but now it's about Brandon Aiyuk agreeing to contracts. The Steelers were in, they were out, now they're in. And now Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, saying that a lot of teams are in. Well, no, duh, if this guy's going to become available. Since we're pre-recording this, Jay, Ryan, we have to take 3 angles to this, and I'll navigate us through this. The first angle is just initial thoughts of hearing that the Browns are interested. Ryan, I'll start with you. Browns are interested in Brandon Aiyuk. Do you think that that's an improvement? Do you think that this is a trade that they should actually be sticking their nose into?
Yeah, I do. I think that Aiyuk is a fantastic player. I mean, 1,300 yards last year. I think he had 7 touchdowns. He's not the biggest guy, not the fastest guy. I think he runs a 4.45, and he's about 200 pounds, 6 foot.
Mm-hmm.
But he is a route technician. A lot of people say Amari Cooper is that as well. So we're getting Amari Cooper 4 years younger. We sign him to a deal now, extend him, and we have a pretty solid core. A lot of people are saying that Cooper would be part of that trade package, which is unfortunate. He is one of the best receivers ever in Cleveland. He's only been here a few years.
Do you make that deal if Cooper's involved?
Yeah,
you
I do,
personally?
Yeah, I do. Cooper's only on
Okay.
a one-year deal. I think that we're not doing him a disservice. He's going to a possible, Super Bowl contending team as well. We're getting younger, and I think it's just Andrew Berry is always all about finding those young guys. Might not draft well with receivers, but he does usually find diamonds in the rough or guys that are on the back burner who other people don't want, and he trades them away for peanuts and gets production out of them. So,
Before we continue, probably not coming through the mics, but where the studio that we're at, we can hear sirens and stuff going on. I hope everybody was safe through the storms on Tuesday. We are recording just after the storms came through, but you're watching this or listening to this on Wednesday or after. So I hope everybody made it through safe. If you are still without power,
We were lucky enough to have power here.
Yeah.
tonight.
yes, lucky enough to have power here. There is no power at my house. There's no.
I got no power at home.
I've opened as many curtains to get some natural light in. I've tried to get some windows just cracked to get some breeze, maybe some cross breeze. With the humidity the way that it's been, so we are wishing everyone the best. Had to make sure, check on your pets, check on your kids. If you don't have power, we're all going to be going through it. Share it out there on social media, ways that you are keeping your family entertained, keeping them
You know what's
safe. Keeping
really
them
cool,
going through it.
Kevin. Like, I just got the Ring camera set up at my house, and something I did not know they had is it's like a neighborhood watch on there, and they'll like alert you. You'll be like, tree down right at this street and this street, or dog loose that we see in Colorado at Husky at so and so, and then they'll like someone else will comment, yeah, I just saw that same dog, now he's down here and stuff. I'm like, that is so cool, dude. I just had to butt in. I thought it was awesome that I have that feature on my phone now. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool now.
We have the Ring camera as well on our front door. I think we've gotten some other style cameras for the back that we need to set up and everything. The only downside, and this isn't a downside on any of the brands, we both have Ring. Like, we would love to endorse Ring because it is actually a really good thing. We're able to see when we have people watching over the house, like who's coming, who's going. If we know that a package is supposed to come, or someone comes to steal a package off
we're going to Aruba. That's why we wanted it,
Yeah.
so we can watch our house. And they came with like 2 indoor cameras, so I can watch my cats. So cool what they
It is.
the technology today.
It is. It's just when you don't have internet,
Yeah, it's
you can't access it. So we
Like
don't
my
have internet
house,
right now because
it's like your Ring camera system is down. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. So
I feel defenseless out there right now.
So we weren't able to check and see before I got home from work if anything was down. It's just all we know is that the power's out. There was a tornado warning. Luckily, everything is okay. Where I'm from, everybody that's gone through tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, again, we wish you and pray for you. Pray for all the best for you, because I'm sure there's going to be cleanup, not just on Tuesday, but beyond that point. But
I think the only reason this Ayuk deal hasn't been done on Tuesday, the power is clearly out in Berea, and they can't get that fax
well,
machine
no, they were able
working
to practice
and stuff.
and
But they need that fax machine. They got to send paperwork
Yeah,
back and
that's
forth. They're like, yeah, we'll get it done tomorrow.
Connectivity
Maybe.
may have not been the best. I was told that they have 3 generators out there, though.
about to say.
I know I want one so bad now. Today I was like, Jay, you're getting a generator because I
have
can't
a
open my
generator.
refrigerator.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
They're life changing, aren't they?
Yeah, it's nice. Gas
Keep
powered.
your refrigerators, your freezers closed, and hopefully power comes back sooner rather than later. And I guess you could say that the Browns are trying to add, like, if they're in on this deal for Ayuk, they're trying to add power to this team, more power than they already have.
I think it's sustainable power is what it is, not more or less. Because Cooper and him are like pretty much the same receiver. They're very, very similar size. The way they are, like you said, they're great route runners. They're just great hands. One just 4 years younger. And I want this deal to happen because, one, you got your 2 receivers locked up for like a good while. And then next year when we finally get a first-round draft pick,
Maybe.
you could still if they trade a first-round draft pick and
They're
like
saying that the
Cooper,
Patriots added their 2025 allegedly. So I mean,
good for them.
yeah,
We'll back
I don't
out
know.
because I need a first-round pick. I am fiending for a first-round pick. But my point is, if let's say they don't give up first-round pick and they give up Cooper, and you could still draft a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah.
But if you don't and Cooper walks, you almost borderline have to draft a wide receiver in the first round because it kind of handcuffs you. If you sign or trade for Ayuk, it opens up a lot more options in that first round. You know what I mean? But like,
it does. I mean, if Cooper's involved, I'm not thrilled about it. I know that he's only really here for this year, but look, the Browns have already paid him for this year. They guarantee a lot of money. They restructured it, but he's still getting a lot of money out of the deal. And if you go to Spotrac with all these contract breakdowns, what is that cap hit that the Browns have to take this year and even next year, or there's like breakdown and everything. I don't always understand it. I didn't get a chance to look into it. Nick Paulus, one of the original voices of the land on the show, he was kind of alluding to that, like that would make trading Cooper away maybe something that deters Andrew Berry, who's been doing the cap space in the NFL since he was in 5th grade. His wife found the paperwork just I think a year ago when she took a picture of it, like his old 5th grade work, and he's breaking down NFL cap space and how it all works. So he understands how to do that. And other people have also said that the Browns are going to turn over every stone. The Haslam group, the front office, they are trying to, and I think we've gotten actual proof now that they are trying to win here, and not just win a game or win a playoff game, win the whole damn thing. That is what they're dedicated to. So if something comes up, and even if whether it was Andrew Berry or Lynch from the 49ers, that whoever started the conversation, because they've had just talks in the past about players they like on each other's teams, who cares who started the conversation? Whether it started from the 49ers or the Browns started, both of those prove that the Browns are they're going to do the research. They took 5 months to figure out that they still wanted to trade for Deshaun Watson through all of the off-field things he was going through at that time. A 5-month odyssey while Baker was still the quarterback. Andrew Berry's telling you that Baker's the guy. They take their time. Due diligence is like the middle name of the Browns. Cleveland Due Diligence Browns. They take that cliche term to another level. So if they're going to have a chance, they're going to see what they can do. If they were able to get this deal done without getting rid of Cooper, I mean, who are you losing then? Like that, somebody has to go.
I mean, they need offensive line. I could see Conklin going. That's a...
They are not taking Conklin. I just highly doubt that, because his contract, he's got another year on that contract.
Yeah.
It's all guaranteed, and it's huge. And for a guy that's been hurt the last 3 seasons, hell, I'd be happy as hell if they were to take Conklin.
Listen, I'm being optimistic here.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, anything's possible. Don't get me wrong.
Anything is possible.
Maybe he's part of a throw-in or something, but...
Yeah, Wyatt Teller.
They've already said, though, I think the 49ers come out and said they want a veteran receiver in return, and they would love to have Amari
David
Cooper.
Bell veteran enough?
Sure.
No, that 141-yard touchdown last year when the Red
Elijah
Sea
Moore?
parted on 4th down, that I don't know if that's enough to convince.
Elijah Moore in a second. Throw in Ira Newbold.
That's the thing. Like, somebody... there's so much talent on this team, and for them to have success this year, yes, it comes down to the quarterback, but everybody has to execute. If you're not executing, talent doesn't do anything. There are plenty of teams that will outwork you, outmuscle you, even if they don't have the talent. They're going to give everything they have. All the teams have heard that you have one of the better rosters in the NFL. Guess what? They're coming with their best shot. That sounds cliche, but they're going to do it. And the Browns sometimes respond to that, sometimes they don't. They just think that they can turn it on at some point in the game, and that doesn't always work. They have to, and if they're going to focus on the loss in the playoffs last year, if that's going to be like their motivating factor to take bigger steps this year, that they felt like we didn't even put our toe in the right direction last year, they're going to have to execute. But they do have a lot of talent. And if you make this trade, one of those pieces has to go. If they want a veteran wide receiver, you know who that piece is. And I don't know. I know he's younger. I know Ayuk is younger. But is he the right cultural fit like Cooper is for this team? Like, that can change a whole dynamic.
I don't know him. Like, I actually kind of have a problem with people going at his, like, who he is and stuff, because how many players have held out for money? Like, breaking news, players hold out for money all the time. Why is it all of a sudden they're, like, bad culture guys and stuff, and they get this stigma about them that they're not, like, good people? Like, I don't know the dude. He could be a complete jerk or the nicest dude in the world. I have no idea who he is. And a lot of these reporters that have been coming out today and saying that kind of stuff, they don't know him either. And I think they're full of BS, to be honest with you.
Well, Ryan, I mean, like, I think what you're saying, what you're alluding to is, like, old school mentality. Like, oh,
yeah, you're holding out.
As soon as someone,
you're
like, holds
a piece
out,
of crap. You're not a team player. Like,
you're a diva
the
receiver.
dude's holding out for millions of dollars. Like, none of us can concept that kind of cash. We're never going to, I mean, I hope we do. Hope the show blows up. Bigger
Has he
than Pat
reported?
McAfee, but
Has he reported, or is he actually holding
He's
out?
the hold in.
Holding in, okay.
So
He's
shows
holding
it.
in. He goes to the facility.
Yeah, I saw the video of like him hugging Shanahan. And,
Yeah, he's
so-
at the facility, so he doesn't get those fines or
Sure,
whatever. He doesn't
right.
have to, lose money because he knows this is probably gonna be a long process, and it's kind of on him. But what I was alluding to, and I probably didn't say it well enough, is like you just said, Jay. We don't know this guy. We know Amari Cooper. That is a proven commodity on this team, a proven commodity to the culture that Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, and the Haslams, by bringing them in, have started to build over the last several seasons. Do you take that into consideration, or Ryan, or do you think that you have to go strictly on business, and if you have to only answer the question, does this make us better, yes or no?
I think that I think it's a business decision. I think that although Cleveland fans and love Amari, the fact of the matter is Brandon Ayuk is younger. He's just as good, if not better. I mean, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns as a relatively number 2 or 3 option on an offense that's
Very heavy.
yeah, heavy.
Run.
Well, they run and they love passing to McCaffrey too out in the backfield. So plus a player like Debo, you always have to account for him. He's the number 1. So if Ayuk has the chance to be a number 1 receiver, which we possibly haven't seen yet, could the potential be just as good, if not better? I think he's just as good now. I mean, I think their ceiling is higher. So
Now,
I
the
would
one-
go on for business. So
One thing we don't question about Amari Cooper is his character.
no,
Yeah.
he's a great player.
One thing I do question is his durability.
He's
He
30.
definitely falls off at the end of the seasons a lot
Yeah.
because he gets hurt a lot, and he plays through them, but he's hurt.
And when
that-
injuries start,
they don't stop. They keep going, and they get worse. They keep piling on.
and it's harder to come back from the older and older that you get. As weird as it is to say, like someone that retires at 35, 36 in professional sports, like they're old in sports terms, but not really in life. But that's a lot of wear and tear, especially in the game of football.
Also, Kevin, with this culture, I think people make a bigger deal a lot of the times. Like, receivers are all, like, 80% of them are divas, dude. Like, how many receivers can you bring into, like, ultra culture guys?
Yeah.
They're all kind of divas in a way. I think the Browns actually, oddly, have a culture now. You have leaders. Like, Myles Garrett has developed a leader. He ain't going to let no one come in here and goof around and be a jerk. No, Ayuk's going to come here and want to put up numbers because he wants that next contract still. He's still young enough to get that next contract.
Where's the perception that he's not a culture guy as well? I mean, he's in the he's
Yeah.
he's it's about his business as well for him.
That's what I'm saying.
He wants money, but he's still sitting in. He's still around the team. He's still I'm sure advising and helping out and this and that. But it is a business. I mean,
I
that
think it's
seems
the-
like a culture guy.
It's definitely the people that are old school in that, like, as soon as you're holding out or holding in for money, like, that's all that you're about. You're not a. That ultimately means to people that you're not a win. You don't care about winning. You don't care about that. You just care about yourself. You care about, hopefully having your bust in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because like you put up the numbers no matter how your teams did or not. Now, we can't say that about Ayuk. I don't want to do the
Here's
deal.
something
if
you can
Cooper's-
judge his culture, or like his character by as a receiver, is he goes over the middle a lot. Like
He does.
He's a possessor,
Takes shots.
and he goes out and grabs it and brings
Yeah.
that in. He ain't gator arming it like, oh, I don't want to catch it because I'm gonna get hit. Like the second you see the receiver bring his arms in, you know he ain't got no heart. He ain't gonna put it on the line. Ayuk will put it out on the line. Like he's a baller, man. He's got some dog in him for sure. And I'm not putting down Amari Cooper. I love Amari Cooper, but it
Right.
is, like we said, it's a business. I can't get myself attached to these players forever. One day, guess what? Nick Chubb's gonna be gone. Myles
I know.
Garrett's gonna be gone,
Yep.
and you move on. That's what it is. Life's about in football. No one lasts forever. It's a very short lifespan for these guys. And he
But-
wants to get paid, and I'm not going to hold it over
Right.
his head,
We're
like
not-
holding against him for wanting to get paid. Because guess what? In the next few years, even if he signs this big deal, he's going to be considered probably underpaid. So that's why he's like, you may see him only. I think the difference was $6 million. You're like, what's the difference between $6 million and being on a winning team? Like, $6 million, man, that's a lot of
life-changing to
money.
me, brother. Like,
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of money.
Yeah, and like percentage wise of what what these teams can afford and stuff. Again, most of the conversation around people not wanting the Browns to do this when they heard that he was more so about just like automatically assuming he's a diva wide receiver that's going to come here and destroy culture, like be like that one piece that breaks everything all down. But I am saying I don't want to do it if Cooper is involved. I know he's only here for a year. We do get a first-round pick back next year. So you can get younger that way.
But what's Barry's big problem so far drafting?
Yeah, but
He's not hit on
But
receivers
3 of those
very
years,
well.
he's only been able to.
He
He's
also
only
has-
been able to start in the second round, and they've traded back. And most of the time, their first pick is coming in the third round because they're trying to build.
Right.
They were trying to build as many assets as they could. So I can't go off of like if there is a top-notch wide receiver in the first round, and he's available to you at your pick. Like I can't say that Barry
There's
wouldn't.
another
go
thing.
and
How
he's
many
gonna-
top-notch wide receivers are in the first round? Because we're most likely going to be towards the end of the draft.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
if you
team.
look at it, like Jackson Smith and Jigbo was drafted relatively late in the first round. He was the first receiver off the board. There's 3 or 4. There's Luther Burden out of Missouri. There's Amika Ibuka. There's Teratoya McMillan out of Arizona.
I mean, you'd
All-
love to
all
get
really
a
good
Puka
studs.
Nuka in
Yeah,
In the
well,
fifth round and
yeah, but
destroy
that's an
you, but-
anomaly in a system that I
Yeah.
think is just he's just perfect for. So.
Right.
They got Cooper Kupp and then him, like way late. Like, man, whoever their scout is for receivers, pay that man. Get him here now.
Well, with the wide receivers and Ayuk, since we are pre-recording this, something could break. Something could break right now while we're recording this, and we can react to it if it does.
We all
Yeah.
of us
Everybody-
Looks like like a break. We're like,
I trust you guys to keep the eye out on it since we pre-recorded again. Like I'm not gonna be looking at the comments. If you want to leave a comment, that's fine. If I'm at home and able to tune in without my kid running around and stuff like that, then I'll try to respond to you. But tonight we can't necessarily get the comments and the live feed and all that type of stuff. Or at least we're not going to see them right here. So you guys stick with the phones. But I am going to pose both scenarios to you guys so that we have content to put out there. More so it's selfish for us than it is for anything else. But I'm going to put scenarios out there, and I want you to react genuinely just hearing what I say. All right? Scenario number 1. Breaking news. The Browns trade for Brandon Ayuk and sign him to whatever kind of extension deal. Amari Cooper of first round, third round, or whatever pick you want to put in there.
Well, it's a big difference between the
yeah,
first
actually,
and the third.
let's say Amari Cooper at a third.
Amari Cooper and a third.
Ayuk is on fire. That's what I'm saying. And I
Right.
love Cooper. It was nice knowing you. Good luck in San Fran. Maybe we'll see you in the Super Bowl.
Ryan?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, I agree.
I don't want to do it. Cooper's the big thing there for me.
Love Cooper. Love him.
Yep.
But
All right. Breaking news. Browns trade for Brandon Ayuk from the 49ers. They fleeced the 49ers, give up a 5th and a 6th round pick plus name an offensive lineman.
Teller. It's got to
They
be
give
Teller.
up Teller.
Got to be
They
Teller.
keep Teller and they bring in the Michigan guy.
Do you
You
do
go
that
first,
deal?
Brian.
What would
I
your
don't do
reaction
it.
be if you heard that?
I don't do it. I think that with the uncertainty of Watson, we have very limited play with him. With the Browns, we have hope. We have wonder, but we don't have facts and statistics yet. We're hoping. I think we need to protect that man as much as possible. Especially
What if Bill Callahan was still the offensive line coach, though? Ooh, we're really getting down in the hypotheticals.
See,
now.
I would say no. I mean, I love Bill Callahan. I think he's going to do great in Tennessee. However, I mean, it's hit and miss with linemen. I mean, yeah, the development with Dawan Jones is great, but I mean, knock on wood, we hope Wills is good this year or better this year. But
yeah.
with Callahan as his coach, we still had a lot of not so great play with Wills. So I think our
Callahan
offensive
couldn't get much out
right,
of him.
right.
He grades out as like a middle of the road left tackle. You guys know that. Like he's not as.
Yeah, I understand
It's
that.
just we had Joe. Like who wants to follow Joe Thomas?
But the
like,
expectation of the 10th overall pick,
Yeah.
especially with 13th
So
overall,
Wirfs
Wirfs goes
destroying
overalls, and then he
defensive ends
he
left
just
and
got a
right.
contract extension.
Yep.
We're discovering or wondering whether or not Wills is even the guy, and the guy taken who a lot of guys wanted. And we knew
Yeah,
Andrew
I'm
Thomas
not-
was going to be gone,
I'm
but
not saying he's like even close to being a Pro Bowler by any means. No, I just don't like. I think a lot of fans. And I'm not saying you guys should say that either. I think a lot of fans just like he's trash. I'm like he's not trash. He's just he's not good. He's not bad. He's literally like right in the middle.
I'm
And
a
you
lot of
don't want
fans.
that. You want better always. That's what I'm saying. Like you can improve in that position. There's no
Yeah.
doubt. I just don't think he's like as bad as everyone else says he is.
I
But
disagree. I don't know.
Andy
you think-
Dickerson.
A lot
can-
of people don't think he's very good. I'm not.
Andy
I'm kind of in
Dickerson
the
can
odd
do
in
a
that.
lot for his time here
Sure.
and like people being able to move on from Bill Callahan if he's able to sprinkle pixie dust and get more out of Wills than we have seen his entire career. All right.
But we had the best in the business,
Yep.
alleged,
Yes.
debatably. So,
And
I
so
don't
if
know.
Andy Dickerson's able to do it, then we've been blessed with more than just one best in the business
yeah.
of offensive
I'm
line.
making that trade, by the way.
You're making the trade.
I love Wyatt Teller, but he's a guard, and I think like tackles are a lot harder
Fantasy
to find.
football.
And
Fantasy football. Because if Cooper's still here, then you get Ayuk and you have Jerry Judy, and if he
that's
comes
what I was
through,
going. I'm like,
Elijah Moore,
I'm thinking, like,
David
'cause
Njoku, like
their
A lot
offense
of
is going
mouths
to
to
be
feed, though.
like
Yeah, it is.
it's going to be a lot of quick passes this year, from what people are saying. Like they'll have the deep ball to open it up, but it's going to be a lot of quick passing going on.
Sure.
And man, could you imagine those three out there? Like that's a hell of a trio of wide receivers right there.
That's top
It-
5 in the league.
But if they do that, I need the Browns to know that kid, I cannot think of his name, the guard from Michigan we got, like he was
Zach
a
Zinter.
stud.
Zinter,
He
yeah.
was a stud in college.
Yeah, I mean, he got hurt,
he's a-
though, so he's rehabbing.
Yes.
But, yeah.
I think he's practicing now, isn't he?
I mean, he should be. I think he's been back for like football activities. I don't know how much. Nobody has said anything
Right.
about him because again, when you're not taking your first pick until late in the second round, the only guy that's being talked about is Mike Hall Jr., the only rookie at least. So like, I would love to hear more about that.
Excited.
But these stories like this keep popping up, so then that pushes those like deeper
That's when we
down.
just take the guard in a first round, and we just get a first round beast guard.
Well, if Wills, we don't know about Wills around, too. We
We'll
could
get
talk
him,
receiver, we could talk tackle, we don't know.
Yeah. So
So-
those are pieces. All right, quickly, 2 more scenarios for you guys. Breaking news: Browns are not the team that get Brandon Ayuk. The Steelers trade for Brandon Ayuk and give him a 4-year, 5-year extension. How would you feel if you heard the Steelers got Ayuk?
I'm not scared one bit of the Steelers. Our secondary is one of the best in the NFL. I mean, they still have questions at quarterback, whether it's Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. I'm unsure, but no, I'm not worried about that at all.
Initial reaction.
They clearly had to pay him more than we were going to offer him to get him there because that team is not all that great. And I don't know if he knew this, but like Russell Wilson had a bunch of wide receivers in Denver, didn't do all that good.
Yeah.
So it's like career-wise, I think it's a horrible move. I hate it because I just don't want the Steelers to get anything good, dude. I don't. The players, their fans want them, so I kind of pissed off that they got him. To be honest.
Well, we're going to find out a lot about Jerry Judy this year. If it was quarterback play or it's just first-round pick that doesn't amount to that anywhere close.
Man, he's had some bad QB play
Well,
during his
and
career. Dude,
again,
imagine, look who he had before Russell Wilson, too.
I know. And if
Yee.
Watson doesn't start to emulate the style of play that we traded for him to come to Cleveland for, then Judy gets another year of an excuse. Now they've given him an extension, so he's going to be here for a little while. So, is it quarterback play or not? Those questions left to be answered. One more scenario for you guys. Still, Browns do not get Brandon Ayuk. He goes to the Patriots.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's honestly, whatever. At that point, I don't even care.
Waste of
about that,
potential.
whatever.
Unfortunately,
have you
but-
dug in to the rumors so much that now like it has to happen or you're going to be disappointed?
No.
No,
Okay.
not
So-
even one bit, to be honest.
So
Like,
now we've gotten so many different scenarios out there. When we cut clips this week, if and when it does happen, we got plenty to go off of. And if you're watching this on Wednesday and the Ayuk trade has happened, look, you got our reaction too. Look at that. And if something wild happens where it's not even any of the scenarios we just talked about, I don't care. We're moving on. So let's stick with the Browns, though. And we just were talking about Deshaun Watson. Kevin Stefanski today, once they got inside and got safe, they sent everybody home. He was asked about playing time, the preseason game for starters. The main person he talked about was Watson, saying he will not play this Saturday. Before we break down our thoughts on all that, take into account that next week are joint practices with the Vikings, and most of the time, teams operate where their starters don't play much, if at all, after they've gone through the rigors, the battles against another team, that the competition picks back up again because you get to see someone else instead of your own team. And then the final preseason game is in Seattle. It's a 7 o'clock game Pacific time, 10 o'clock kickoff here on the Eastern time zone. I don't know if he plays there either. How do you feel about, Jay, I'll start with you this time. How do you feel that Watson's not playing the first preseason game and the potential that he doesn't play at all in the preseason?
Kind of annoyed by it, to be honest with you. I think the dude needs to get out there and throw. He needs the reps. I'm not holding it against him. It's just the coach's decision, clearly. And, yeah, I wish he would play. Like, this is kind of annoying to me. This is also why I don't go to preseason games. I give them up to my nephews and stuff because, I don't know. Wow, we get to watch Jameis Winston play. Woo.
You don't want to see him eat some W's, man?
I love Jameis Winston.
I love to
him.
watch Jameis Winston post-game interviews. I don't want to watch Jameis Winston play for the Browns, that's for sure.
Ryan?
I think that we should wrap him up in bubble wrap like the kid on the Little Giants and set him aside and just make sure he's healthy and ready. I mean, I remember last year, I think Ward got a concussion relatively.
I think so, yeah.
And Browns fans melted. They, it was a panic. I don't want that to happen again. If Watson gets hurt in the preseason, first person to blame is going to be Stefanski. He's going to take all the heat. And secondly, it's going to be doom and gloom. If he is our starting quarterback, he is supposed to be our savior, and we haven't seen it yet. I'm putting him on the sidelines and making sure he gets as many mental reps as possible and making sure that arm is healthy before he gets out there and gets hurt. So.
What happens if he gets hurt in the
that's
during practices? Like, I know they can't necessarily touch him, but with competition, guys, like, there's going to be some extracurriculars after the whistle. Hopefully no fights like we've seen with the Giants and the Lions. There have been 2 fights already, 2 big fights in I think they're in New York. I think they're in the Meadowlands for that one.
Right. In practice, though, the quarterbacks are off limits in the game. Like in practice and in games, there are guys who usually in camp are trying to make a name for. They want to make the team. You can't hit the quarterback in practice. You can in a game. I mean, don't touch the red shirt in practice, and it's full go. So I would wrap them up in bubble wrap. So
I will tell you guys that I'm with Jay on this one, and it's more so because. Call me old school, but I believe in game-like reps.
Sure.
I know that the speed of the game picks up once you get to week 1. But if you're going to tell me that you're going through a ramp-up period and you expect to go from, in terms of game-like reps, you expect to go from 0 to 100 with that? And a guy that has admitted he starts slow in the season.
Damn you for taking
Well, how
my
long
point
do you
I
play
just
him
thought
then?
of.
how long do you decide to play him then? And if you play him, you have to play your entire starting offense.
Well, and that's
So
the thing.
That's a risk.
In this first game, I could have seen a series.
Sure.
Maybe at most 2. Like, I'm not saying he has to go out there for like an entire half or anything.
No, and
I already
You're
understand.
saying, you're right. It's a risk, but it's also a risk not to go out there
I
and play.
I
and
agree,
like
but
blowing week 1 against the Cowboys, who are no schlubs in the regular season playoffs. If we were playing the playoffs, I'd be like, guaranteed win, no doubt. They can't win in the playoffs, but they're great in the regular season, especially early on. And also, if he would have been playing all throughout finish the season playing, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, all right, he played. He needs to get out there. He looked rusty, and I'm so sick of that excuse people use, but I think he needs the reps. But at the same time, I see what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
if he gets hurt, that would be
The season's
absolutely
over.
horrible. But if he's going to get hurt, he's going to get hurt. When you're in those kind of games, he shouldn't be going out there trying to be Deshaun Watson. He needs to just practice his throwing. You don't need to be running for first downs and stuff.
Sure.
I think it'd be more controlled kind of play calling. And like I said, I think they'll probably call quicker passes and stuff like that. Even if it's just 2 series, that helps a lot. But
It's not worth
nothing
it.
I can do about it.
Right.
not
That's why
worth
we're
it.
sitting behind microphones, and like they're
Sure.
the ones that have to figure out that balance. It's a difficult balance. I don't want any of our starters to get hurt, but a guy that's coming back from a shoulder injury that is now basically full go and hasn't played a game since that Baltimore, at least that's his last memory of throwing a football, is going 14 for 14 in the second half in Baltimore. I already understand that the second game, with doing the joint practices, most of the starters aren't going to play in that one with the new system that's set up. And once we get to 18 games, because I already know it's going to come, like how that preseason is set up, like then you got to find a new method to ramp your team up. Kevin Stefanski and the Browns were allowed to request the times for their preseason games that were scheduled at home. What time did they schedule these two games for?
4 o'clock at 4 o'clock.
4:25. What is their kickoff time against the Cowboys?
4 o'clock.
So if you're going to get your team to kind of get in a habit in these first two games at home, going through warm-ups and stuff, on a day where you play at 4:25 in the afternoon on a weekend, why wouldn't you have, at least for a series, have your starters go through that process at home, get into that first series, script it out, do whatever you need to do. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It can be vanilla. It can be something that avoids Deshaun from doing anything that puts him in harm's way. But at least to get in that routine and get in game-like reps, why wouldn't you do that? That's where my head goes when I hear, like, your starting quarterback that hasn't played since week 11 last year, I think it may have been, or I don't know when the Baltimore game was, maybe week 8. Maybe I'm, like, way off. But it's been a long time since he has taken a real game snap.
Who's the best quarterback in the league?
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes, Allen, yeah.
What does he do in the preseason? He plays every game.
Great.
Tom Brady, I think he played every game.
Yeah.
I hold him to the great players, the same standard they are, but
That's what we paid him and traded for him to be.
These games mean nothing. I mean,
No,
it's not worth it.
they do though. I mean,
in
if
terms
they meant
of
nothing,
the
they wouldn't have
in-game
him,
rep,
correct?
I understand, but they mean these games are for borderline players, fringe players who are you have to make a decision whether or not they're going to make it the team, who's going to go on the practice squad. These are not for your $250 million quarterback. They're not. Whether or not he was hurt or not, if he gets hurt again, our season's over. Because Stefanski's a 2-time Coach of the Year, but now he's going to have another year where he's got to figure it out with Jameis Winston and and company. It's not worth it. There's a lot riding on it, and if he gets hurt, it's over.
And
I mean, what are the percentages of quarterbacks being hurt in preseason games?
Enough for me not to do
it.
it.
I'm gonna guess it's low. I could
Sure.
be wrong, but
I would.
it's one of those things. It's so hypothetical.
Look at Odell
If-
getting. I mean,
If he goes through it and doesn't get hurt, awesome. He learned and got like a lot of reps. If he goes through it and gets hurt, damn, we shouldn't hell about. It's like that's where.
Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
right.
Yeah,
Well, Odell
there's
and
no
Brand
real
Body
right
Calhoun.
answer here, or wrong
Right, yeah.
answer, and
Sure.
To what you're saying, Ryan, I would only.
that's why we brought you on, man.
Yes.
I'm glad we got some differences here, finally.
Yes. I would argue that the Browns don't have many of those fringe decisions to make, not like we used to in the past. So if you don't have many of those, like you're going to get plenty of time in second quarter, second halves of these preseason games to make those few decisions
Sure.
that you have to. Why not get your team truly ready for week 1,
I
at
100%,
least giving
yeah.
them the game-like reps?
I get what you're saying, and I
Yeah.
agree with you. I'm not arguing with you to disagree.
This is how difficult this job is as an NFL coach.
Like
that we
I
just-
see the benefit of him getting game reps. I do.
Yeah.
I just think that the risk of injury does not is not
saying worth the
overweigh.
squeeze is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
it's not worth it to me. So I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I completely agree with
Yeah.
you. It's just I just see it a little differently because, like I said, if he goes down, if and it's a big if, but there is an if. If he goes down on a game that does not matter, our season's over and fans are gonna freak out. So
the conversation we're having and the differences in it are the exact reason that I've very few times in my life ever called for a coach's job or coach to be fired or someone to lose their job in professional sports. Well, I know what happens. I leave it up to the organizations to do that. The only people, and the latest example is Greg Berhalter for the U.S. men's national team because they got terrible the second stint. Why he was brought back, why they waited so long to bring him back. I very seldom call for someone's job because, look, they're making millions of dollars, but it's still a job. We all know what it's like, and we've seen people that don't have jobs. They don't have the means to have that life that you're looking to have. So why would I call for anybody's job unless it absolutely matters. These types of decisions are what Kevin Stefanski has to do on a daily basis. That's why more gray hair since the first time he stepped foot in Berea have reached his head, and maybe he started for Andrew Berry. I don't know. He's got the baby face, just like a lot of those guys in that building. But that's the difficult job of the head coach and the GM and all of that. The flip side is that's what they're paid to do. So, whatever you decide, you better get it right. Right now, the Guardians' last 3 games not necessarily right. They lose in extra innings last night to the Diamondbacks.
I'm getting a bad feeling, Kevin.
Oh,
I don't feel too good about this team right now.
why not?
Let's
just dive right in.
Dude, their starting pitching is scaring the living bejesus out of me, to be honest with you. Cookie Carrasco, he's pretty much done for. Yeah, dude, the whole rest of that squad.
Not eating innings the way that they wanted them to.
Yeah, we got to the 6th inning. Like, dude, when's the last time we had a complete game? When's the last time we had a pitcher get to the 8th inning? This bullpen you could see it. They're starting to get taxed, and we still have a huge chunk of the season to go. We can't sustain like this. Like, our hope and savior is that Cobb kid has to come in. And is it Boyd, the other one that's coming back too?
Matthew Boyd, yeah.
If they're not good when they come back, we're in big trouble because Kansas City is red hot, led by that Bobby Witt Jr., who looks like an MVP caliber player right now. And, yeah, I'm just nervous, man. I'm not going to lie. It's a long season. Hopefully we get hot again. But right now they got me a little nervous, Kevin.
Well, I mean, we have a 3.5 game lead on Minnesota, still a 5 game lead on Kansas City.
I mean, 3.5 game ain't nothing.
Kansas City, I wouldn't call them hot. They're 6-4 in their last 10, just like us. Now, Minnesota, they're going through one of their hotter streaks. They're 7-3, only 1 game.
Go through Kansas City's
better.
last 20 games.
Go through Kansas City's last 20
The problem
games.
is Kansas City keeps destroying the White Sox, and we keep losing to the damn White Sox.
Well, I mean, the White Sox have lost 21 in a row. Do we play them anytime soon? Let me look at the schedule.
We have a pretty hard schedule the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the hardest in
That's the
baseball.
other problem, is that we do have a tough schedule.
We play
How
Arizona.
How are you feeling over there about your Gardos?
I don't want to panic. I don't know. I'm uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. Excuse me.
That's how I want to say I'm
Yeah.
feeling. Like, I'm not panicked. I'm just
I
like,
felt like
I'm
a panic button
uneasy,
being
man.
over here.
I'm real uneasy. Like, I was riding high
in
before.
previous years, 3.5 games ahead would be awesome. Like, that's sweet. But because we've been blessed / spoiled with, being 6-7 games for a lot of the season, 5, 6, 7 games, you're starting to get uncomfortable. If it takes one series, one weekend to, bump back up to 5 or 6 or go back down to 1, so it's any given week. So I'm nervous though. Yeah.
I'm kind of opposite you guys. No, I don't like the starting pitching, but that's kind of we've been waiting for Matthew Boyd and now Alex Cobb to see if what they've tried so far, and I guess if there are any waiver claims coming up as more teams bow out of the we're in contention, we're in buy mode type element. We were going to find that out after the trade deadline. Unfortunately, yeah, the starting pitching I don't like. I will counter argue what you're saying about just get to the 5th or 6th inning. That's what the Guardians have actually said, and that's what Andre Knott has told me. Him talking to major league teams all over the place, and now that they get to go to every ballpark every 2 years, he gets to talk to even more. He talks to so many people that say that they're modeling themselves after the Guardians. Back in 2016, what did the Guardians do with their starting pitching? They let them go to the 5th, at most the 6th inning. Then they had those big arms to come in and shut it down. Andrew Miller sometimes getting 2 innings in there. You have your Cody Allen to shut it down. All of those
things. Who was
things.
starting before those, though? Corey Kluber, a younger Carrasco, Trevor Bauer. Their starting pitching was way better.
But he used that model not just in the playoffs. Like, he showed that, and people have modeled themselves after that. And that has become kind of a style in the playoffs that teams follow. Like, unless you're going as a starting pitcher, your teams are going into their bullpens a lot earlier than ever before since 2016 when Terry Francona put that out there. It's kind of the way that Vogt has managed all year, and does that tax the arms? Yes. Do we want to see starters go deeper in the regular season so we can get them some rest? Absolutely. But I think also in that bullpen, they've brought some guys up from AAA to give guys days off and things like that, and they've had an impact. A lot of the guys they brought up from AAA have had an impact. Starting pitching does need to be answered, but I am looking for Tanner Bybee to get healthy. I'm looking for Gavin Williams to get that feel for the baseball. Remember, he came in middle of the season, just a little bit past the middle of the season, with guys in mid-season form at the plate when he is just coming into his March, April, or just at the end of spring training. Did he get enough rehab in? Can you simulate that enough in the minor leagues and those rehab starts before you have to eventually bring him up to get that arm stretched out to a March, April start date? I don't know, but now he's trying to expedite that and probably trying some things when he's getting shelled that he shouldn't be trying because they're just locked in at the plate. He's trying the things you would try early in the season when you can get away with it with guys that are still trying to find their way. So yes, the starting pitching has to get better. But I see a team that's been through this. They've had a culture a lot longer than the Browns have. And they're a lot closer to championship than any other team, and I will argue that against anybody.
We're all pretty
In
close.
order to win it, though, you're going to have your starting pitching. Am I concerned about that? Yes. Am I even close to being worried when I see a 3-game losing streak? No, because they are playing a lot of games, and what's going to matter is your games against Minnesota and Kansas City. And upcoming over the next month of time, you have a 4-game series with Minnesota, which is 2 games in 1 day, and a 4-game series against Kansas City, 2 games in 1 day to make up. Those are where you really need to continue to make your headway. You just went 2-2 against the Baltimore Orioles over the weekend, a team that came in struggling. They're 6-4 over the last 10, just like the Guardians, and they're considered one of the best teams in baseball. Guardians have had the best record in the American League for a long time, and we still are hesitant to say they are one of the best teams in baseball. I think they are one of the best teams in baseball. Comes down to my offense has done all of this for us all year. My bullpen has done all of this for us all year long. Look yourself in the mirror, Gavin Williams. Look yourself in the mirror, Tanner Bybee, Matthew Boyd, Alex Cobb. You were brought here for a reason. Look yourself in the mirror. These guys have sacrificed all year long. It comes down to us. We're going to make or break this team. You better find that motivation, that grit, that determination to improve and get better. Even if we have to get hot pitching-wise in the last month, that can go a long way to make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah, one of these guys needs to grab the reins and become the ace of this team, like the true ace. And the guy that, if we're slumping, boom, he's going to stop that slump. You know that pitcher's coming in. The other team ain't hitting him that day. They could turn that pitching around, which is capable, and they've definitely showed they're more than capable of coaching pitching.
Mm-hmm.
This team will be fine. Like I said, I'm just nervous right now. They're not playing their best for a little bit now.
Yeah.
And they went into the All-Star break cold. They kind of are still a little cold, not like they were. And when I see 3.5, I'm like, that makes me uneasy.
It makes you uneasy, but
I'm used to. I want those 10-game those 10-game stretches.
But
I don't want any teams close to us, dude.
But outside of the White Sox, I would counter argue that Minnesota's 15 games over 500.
Yeah.
Kansas City's 12 games over 500. They're all in the 60s in wins. Detroit, yes, has definitely fallen off, but they were given it a run. So this is a much tougher division than it has been in previous years. So I would think that it would be close. And I think you and I talked about this actually. If you win the Central, you earn it this year. It's not just because you won it in a bad division. You go out and you earn it.
I mean, that's going to help too. Also, is the tougher competition will bring out the better in your team.
And look, this team has done well against, for the most part, it's done well against better teams. Yeah. Have they done well against better pitching? Not always, but look at, Corbin Burns of Baltimore? You put up 5 runs, like you think that that's going to be enough in that game. Your pitching, like even your bullpen didn't come through in that game. Not something you expect, so that's where you lose the second half of that series. I'm not concerned yet. We'll check in on everybody as each week goes, as we Now, come down the stretch of the baseball season. We're not early. We're not mid-season. We are coming down the stretch as we are in August.
Summer's almost over. There was a big summer event over the weekend.
Oh,
that
there was.
You attended, didn't you?
Look. The Guardians were at home, so they got a good crowd. SummerSlam, WWE SummerSlam was in town. Cleveland showed out, but that leads to some stadium concerns because I think we should touch on that since we didn't get a chance to from our last show.
Let me talk about SummerSlam real quick. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm not a wrestling fan. I've tried for years to get into the story, but it's hard to follow when you don't know the backstory. So that being said, I had no interest in going to SummerSlam. But looking on Twitter and seeing all the posts and
FOMO?
Dude, I had such FOMO. Like I was like, I have to the Hawk Tuah girl, MGK, Jelly Roll, even Daewon Jones with like the grills and his wrestling tee and his belt, like looking like a big kid. It looked like the best time ever. And honestly, like Cleveland, like you guys showed up and showed out. Like how blessed are we to have these events here, who is it, David Gilbert, or I think from the Greater Sports Commission, who just books all of these amazing events here. That's so incredible. That's amazing.
American games were in town.
Yeah, and the fact that, not only do we get to host it, but Cleveland shows up. Cleveland is a fantastic host, and it's a party. So just like kudos to you. Take your flowers. Like that is awesome for the fans, for wrestling. I missed out. I wanted to go. I should have went.
So I'm not going to get into the Hawk girl. I'm not going to say the whole thing. But there's another social media kind of, I don't want to say star, but popular social media personality that is big into wrestling.
Sure.
I know the last name is Baker. For the life of me, I'm forgetting the kid's name, but he has two sisters. And he talked about, they always videotaped him talking about his great love for pro wrestling, and he is a person that deals with Down syndrome. That doesn't hamper you from anything.
Sure.
But, not as many advantages given to him, and WWE showing why everybody's capable of anything.
Right.
He's gotten a lot of opportunities to meet and become friends with superstars with
That's
WWE
really cool.
and AEW in the professional wrestling world, things like that. They typically go to some of the big shows. They travel from St. Louis to Cleveland. They loved Cleveland. They went to Pizza 216. They loved the food. They loved the way that they were welcomed. Like someone that's not from here. I know that they're still from the Midwest, but I saw stories like that. I saw stories like people like you that that have never watched in their life. They're not into it. They were there.
I should have been. I'm telling you. It was
Gab Gowdy was there.
Yep.
Chops was there. There was other people. Brad Stainbrook was there. These people, they were very open and honest. I've never been to a show. Like, people I work with, never been to wrestling, but it's at Brown Stadium. I don't know if they got connections or whatever to tickets because we are partnered with the Browns at our station or not, but whatever. I don't care. They were there, and they absolutely loved it. They were like, I don't know what's going on in these storylines, but I loved it.
Yeah.
The issue, the stadium. Now, getting in was an issue. I
heard they only opened the 2 gates.
No, every other entrance was open. When we
So
walked
false.
around to like the lake side of the stadium, there were people coming through there too. So it's just like they put the pre-game show that went for 3 hours, they put it right by the main gate facing the Science Center. So like everyone's packed in there, and then they're loading up to try to get in because they were going to open the gates at 4:30. Everybody thought the reason for that was like, okay, we're going to get some pre-show stuff. And as we get closer to the time that the event will start, we get kickoff matches. Some like ones that you weren't being told about, but you get to see some superstars that aren't going to get the highlight on the pay-per-view. Like we thought that. Nothing like that happened. Was disappointed in that, but I understood. We were in the end zone facing the west. The sun was over us. We were hot. Didn't matter. We're big fans. My wife and I are big fans.
What section?
319.
That's not too bad. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, it was just great view. I know that some people didn't have a great view, and then there was like the lights around the ring that shined on the upper portion, the one half of the stadium that they didn't cover up. They had fans in. They started chanting, "We can't see, we can't see." The brilliance about WWE and listening to their fans, immediately the light came down.
That's cool.
Wasn't low enough. They started chanting again immediately. Brought it down more. That's why the WWE Universe is the most impactful piece of WWE and what they do. When we went into the west entrance, just because we come down West 3rd. We parked down in the flats and walked to the West 3rd entrance, and they were supposed to open at 4:30. It took 25 minutes. Now, there was a medical emergency because it was so hot. People started chanting, "Let us in, let us in, let us in." Other people would try to like yell at them and say, "Look, there's a medical emergency." And I said out loud, and a lot of people like started like cheering, and I don't know why, but I was concerned for people. If we don't find a way to get some of us in, more of these emergencies are going to happen because you're so tight knit and it's so hot. It was so humid. So that was one issue. The concourse, main concourse, before you could find a way up if you were up,
How crowded was it, Kevin?
couldn't move at all.
When's the last time you went to a Browns game?
I mean, I've been to Browns games, and I know it was even worse than that.
Well, I know because there's like a ton more people, but dude, that's like every Browns game. It drives me absolutely insane.
There is no room in the main concourse to get around. When you're at a Guardians game, when you're at a
Food lines
Cavs game,
block everybody.
the food lines somehow don't block everybody. I'm able to walk the whole top of Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, the bottom. I'm able to walk that in a pretty good amount of time. Yes, do I have to get around people when there's a lot of fans in the arena? Absolutely. Now it doesn't hold as much as 57,791, which set an American record for SummerSlam, by the way. So I was a part of the American record. People want to say I'm not American. I'm American.
That's pretty cool. Cleveland just broke a record. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. So
The
all we
only
do.
place that had more was Wembley Stadium in the 90s.
nice.
Because Wembley Stadium holds more. Now, 57,000 is like 10,000 lower than what Brown Stadium holds, but with production and everything, they have to cover up some seats. And it's not like fans get to the stadium in waves like at Browns games. Like you have your families, they go down for the block party that's happening before on Dog Pound Drive, and then they get in at 11 to get their kids food and things like that, get situated. And at 11, like that next wave comes, they want to be early from the tailgates and all that. Then you get the tailgaters that are coming right at kickoff time that have had more than just a few adult beverages. This, like, everybody got there at that time, plus the extra waves of people. So, like, it was almost like the first two sets of waves at a Browns game, they were there at the start, and then the other waves came in, and people were still funneling in for almost over an hour or so. The stadium looked packed. People took pictures before the thing even started, and they're trying to say Cleveland didn't get enough fans there. Yes, we did.
I mean, we broke our American record, so they can eat crow.
But like that leads to the stadium, and like renovation just doesn't. After what I saw this weekend, renovation is not the answer.
I agree.
Oh, dude,
No.
I don't want no renovation.
I understand the city putting their stance on it,
lipstick
but
on a pig, dude. I'm good. Like, one of the most annoying things to me is everyone like, oh, downtown needs to have the Browns there, otherwise all these businesses are going to fail. Like, dude, if your business plan is based around 8 days a week, you're doing it wrong. Secondly, if let's say they tear down that, I don't know, maybe put something in where the Brown Stadium is that's a year-round accessible thing, so you draw people downtown year-round and not just 8 days a week. I'm so sick of
Weeks
people
only have
saying
7 days.
downtown, huh?
weeks only have 7 days.
I'm sorry,
Eight days a
week.
year.
8 days a week. Whatever, Kevin.
Well, see, with that, like, I agree with you, but I think the number one issue is it has to be a dome. I feel like that is what
I'm
fans
in the
want.
500
That's
section.
what
I'm done being cold,
That's what
dude.
fans want. I mean, yeah, the old school Browns fans, the elements are here. You know, that's the number one thing. But that
You have
is,
to be open to change.
and if we close the venue, have a closed venue, it's going to open up the opportunity for so many more opportunities. You want SummerSlam again? You want this, that? We're going to have the venue to do it, and it's just outside Cleveland. It's
Indianapolis just agreed with WWE to not only get a Royal Rumble, but a future WrestleMania and a future SummerSlam. Like, they get the three biggest pay-per-views they've already agreed because they have the indoor facility to do it. It's not going to happen all in 1 year, so it's going to be spread out. But they have the facility to be able to make that kind of deal. They're in the game to make that kind of deal. We're not in that game right now. And but I also do see the side of businesses losing money. Like, look at what happened when LeBron left. The Browns weren't good enough to be the big draw. They are the big draw now, and we have a good team. So this wouldn't happen until, like, the stadium wouldn't open until 2029 and all of those types of things, where the team is at.
Wait, how many
at
businesses
that point.
closed after LeBron left? Not a whole bunch.
I mean, I saw several that
It was
that
more from
definitely closed.
It was more from COVID. I don't think a whole bunch of businesses closed from LeBron leaving. I don't believe that.
I will
'Cause
say-
I know that stadium was still packing up every single night after LeBron left. I was there.
I just fear what that's going to do.
And why does everyone think downtown fuels all Northeast Ohio? I'm pretty sure Northeast Ohio fuels downtown. More fans live outside of downtown area. They live in the suburbs. Those are the ones that are paying the tickets.
I will say it's unfortunate. Like I said, number one, we have to have a new dome. You can't, like you said, throw lipstick on a pig, throw a roof on it. It's not gonna work. It is unfortunate that it is not downtown. It is nice to have the centralized location. It's right next to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right next to the Science Center. It's within walk to both other stadiums. Now that it's great that it's close to the airport, but it is taking that city feel dynamic and moving it elsewhere. But if you cannot provide a new dome, like adios, sorry.
Yeah, I want the biggest and the baddest stadium
Right.
for once.
Well,
I got a new stadium, and it was average when we built it, if at best. Like, dude, I'm tired of having that.
And
I want a super stadium.
And supposedly they're supposed to release like their plan for
released it already.
$3.6 billion.
I'm
If the link
so
would
sick
load.
of waiting. I just want to see it. If they got it, release it. What are you waiting for?
I did see someone say that Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe, has been renovated since the 1920s, like continuously renovated, and it still seems like they haven't redone it; they've just renovated it. But I haven't been to a game, so I don't know how the inside is
Awesome.
It's
holding up.
nice. I
The
like
shoe
it.
is nice. The shoe is an iconic stadium.
But just looking at the construction material that was used and some of the original stuff that was there, I'm sorry, like we have a lot of artifacts from history from like the 1500s and 1600s, and they didn't have as many tools as we have now, and those things are holding together pretty well.
Well, I think-
So like there's better concrete, there's better material at Ohio Stadium that's not breaking down like the cheap
Right.
ass stuff that they used to quickly put up Cleveland
Quickly,
Browns
yeah.
Stadium
That's what I was gonna say.
when they had to bring them back by 1999. They didn't have the amount of time to put the time and effort into that stadium that they should have, and now there's already issues with it when 1999 hit, when it was a new stadium.
Right.
So that is why it's lipstick on a pig, because when you renovate something that is already broken when it's new, it's not going to get much better.
They'll make a nice reef for the fishing down in the lake. I know that. Throw another stadium in there. Why not?
Just I don't
While
want
I love it.
I just don't want to lose my air show, that's all.
You know what?
I don't want to lose my air show.
I'm nervous about tailgating too. I don't know how that's gonna be.
Yeah.
I think tailgating will actually be better than ever.
It might, but that's like the number one like tradition that I like doing is going down and
Are
just.
you a muni lotter?
I don't tailgate, but I go and meet friends and hang out with people and stuff, and it's a lot
I've
of fun.
never been
so.
to a tailgate.
Top Dog and all those. So
Because I don't drink. Like that's
you don't
That's
need to
the thing,
drink to have a
not
good time,
everyone- yeah.
Kevin.
To me, tailgating is hanging out with my friends
Yeah.
and the food.
Oh.
It's all about the food, and usually the food you could eat because
right.
it's all barbecue.
I haven't found the right people to go with to tailgate the right way.
I don't
because,
know if
like,
you knew
all
this,
I've ever
but I
seen-
did this whole thing with going around with tailgates.
I
and
understand.
covering them.
I was
I've probably
working at
been
the
to more
time.
tailgates
I had
than
to
anyone in
drive.
Cleveland.
I had to drive a remote control cooler through Muni Lot. I
I
didn't make
seen
it.
it. It was awesome. It was
I didn't
quite
make
awesome.
it all the way through because everyone was just drunk. They didn't care about anything else.
It's funny.
Those aren't the people I can go tailgating with.
Because that's the thing. All the tailgates are different. You go to West Third, it's a little bit more chilled. Pitt's a little bit more chilled. Muni Lot is a free for all, man. That's the wild, wild west of the tailgating. And if you go, let's say even more so, you go across the street to the airport, it's a lot more chill over
Yeah.
there too. You got to know. It's all about who you're tailgating with in the crowd. Because of course there's drunk people everywhere downtown when there's a Browns game, but not.
Yeah.
If you got like you're 6 people and you guys are all going to the game, you set up a tent, bring out your grill, get down there early, dude. there's nothing better. That's just pure America right there.
All I'm saying is they better, if they do the new Brook Park Stadium, they better have a designated spot that is just as good, because that is the
Yeah, they better have like
yeah.
a build around plan, not
Right.
just a
Yeah,
stadium
right.
plan, like a whole
I'm
stadium
not going to
community
miss
plan.
that walk back to
Jimmy's
my car
World.
after games.
Jimmy's World, like
Sure.
Jerry's World. Like
Yep.
have that.
That'd be awesome.
That all set up in its own thing there in Brook Park.
That, and you ever walk from the Muni lot in terrible weather to the Browns game? It's horrid. It's horrid. I think the one year the rain was going sideways, just pelting me in the face.
But, man,
and
that's
I
what-
had to walk in the wind. I'm like, ah.
But it gives us an advantage, man.
Yeah.
When you lose
I
17 to
remember
10 to the
What
to
happened
the
last
Saints.
year when the Saints came? Thank you. They came here and
I'm
we had
already,
horrible weather.
That
and
Buffalo
it was
game,
everywhere.
what, 15 years ago, where the punt just gets stuck right into the field in the snow.
Yeah, we at least won the 8-0. Though.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin. We're
Well,
in an
speaking
hour,
of-
man, it flew by. I was like, we went
Speaking
past
of
now.
America, we'll do a Olympics review next week. We will definitely do an Olympics review, so I expect you guys to at least be looking at medal count and what we do here in the second, finishing out the second week of the Olympics.
As of
We'll
right
do
now,
a-
I
Watch
think-
some wrestling. Do
Yep.
it. Do it.
Yeah, this
The
guy
wrestling.
loves his
love
real
love
wrestling.
wrestling.
Look forward to checking out the breakdancing, how they score that,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. The track and field is going on. Katie Moon, pole vaulter from Olmsted Falls. My two cousins actually went to school with her, and
Let's get her on the pod.
Got a chance to. Hopefully we can get. Hopefully we can reach out to her and get her
Yeah.
on the pod once she's back from Paris. No matter how she does, she's literally enjoying this experience. She won gold the last one. She's literally just enjoying this. She's married now.
She's guaranteed the medal now, right? Too, right? I think it's tomorrow. I'm pretty sure.
Well, she's in the finals.
I think that's tomorrow. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, but I don't know that she's guaranteed
I
a
thought-
medal
I'm-
as of
yeah,
now.
okay.
But hopefully she does, and we can talk about that and get her on to talk about it as well. Make a friend with an Olympian, a gold medal winning Olympian. We'll talk about
That'd be
that
pretty
next
cool.
week. To finish out SummerSlam, though, I do have to tout myself a little bit, and I hate doing this. Gave a little good karma to LA Knight, winning over Logan Paul in the U.S. Championship. Got to interview him before SummerSlam, and I even gave him a line for SmackDown that, because LA Knight was saying, well, like, why aren't you guys like all about him? He's from Cleveland. Riz was saying, Tony Rizzo for ESPN Cleveland
Oh,
was
Logan
saying,
Paul?
yeah, he was saying Logan Paul's getting the advantage. He's at home, right? And I said no, and I explained it, and I told him and LA Knight. LeBron always said that he was from Akron. When everybody wanted him to say he's from Northeast Ohio, he's from Cleveland, because everybody in this Northeast Ohio is supposed to say, I'm from Cleveland. We got mad at that. Well, fans of pro wrestling from Cleveland say, he tries to say he's from Cleveland, now living in Puerto Rico, Logan Paul does. Fans say, you're not from Cleveland, you're from Westlake. And he said that exact line to Logan Paul on SmackDown.
Well, you're not from Cleveland, you're from
Man.
Westlake?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome,
He's
Kevin.
like, I'm like ready to beat you. Wait, you say you're the king of Cleveland? You're not. You're from Westlake, you goof.
That's awesome.
I was like,
That's so
oh,
funny.
that might have been, that might have had a little influence there. So that was,
guess what? I might have had a little influence on you getting in on that interview, by the way, you didn't know about.
I'd look for a residual
You
check.
know me, man. I was-
texting. Yes, I know. So,
So you're welcome. Did
so
it again.
for this extended edition, since we are pre-recorded, of Voice of the Land, for Ryan Mosser, for Always Positive J, our producer extraordinaire,
You
Peter
need
Tulloch.
a sign off.
I just want to say quickly, if you would do us a favor and follow us on our socials, on our Twitter, on our YouTube, on our Instagram, it's linked for our link tree. You can go on there, and it's just you click the Instagram button. It will take you straight to Instagram, and you can follow us. So subscribe, maybe leave a review. That would be greatly appreciated.
Leave some
We
comments on
are
our
trying to
YouTube page.
rebrand, and I think we're going to take off here, and I'm really excited, and we could use your help. So
Absolutely.
sorry about that.
The rebrand, the renovation of the Voice of the Land.
There.
It's not lipstick
There
and
it
a
is. That's
pig.
your
No.
call off. You're our tag announcer guy. Don't forget to do this. It's
I'll do that. That's fine.
Absolutely.
All right.
Cool.
So, for Ryan Mosser, our tag person, for Always Positive J, who will say something here in the close in just a second, for our producer extraordinaire, Peter Tulloch, his son, Jacob, tuning in tonight as well, sitting in studio, I'm Kevin Arnold. Remember, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. I know LeBron said it's just basketball, but trust me, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We love you all 3,000.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Stay classy, Cleveland.
And live life. All gas, no breaks. We'll see you next time, right here on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.